Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Thinking Out Loud by way of Straight to It. You know who I am. I am Clem Bookie. That is Yaya, Queen of Snark. And
Hello, good evening.
now we are going to hit you with topics that you all are really thinking about. Yaya, kick us off.
Tonight I'd like to touch on shame and how it's become a fictional thing and no longer exists. What happened? Where'd it go? That's what I want to know. Where do you think it went to?
A very good question. I just think we live in a world where people are just self-absorbed, just oblivious to right from wrong. Even though at their some people's big ages, they just think they're above everything else and above everyone else. So it's a very fair question to ask.
I mean, once upon a time, you know, growing up, what happened in the house, stayed in the house. No one knew your business, always a straight face, smiling face. Hello, how you doing? You kept moving. Even family didn't know what was going on in the house. Now I know too much about people that I did not ask for. It's unnecessary. So like where like how did we get here is what I would like to know. What happened? What happened?
Yeah. That's very good that you say that. You know, that's great perspective. I think a lot has to do, like open it up and said that it's kind of what we live in now, the world that we live in. I know we kind of like beat a dead horse on our topics with it, but social media has a big part to play in it. Also, I think people's level of expectations when it comes to relationships, how they carry themselves, self worth, self respect. I mean, I think everything you pile it up in it, it's just a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people.
But me and you, and as far as the lack of shame, I mean, there's degrees to it, but it seems to just span all age groups. This has become a thing that's not all it's just young people, it's just men, it's just women, it's like across the board. That sometimes, like you said, like now they are way too grown to be doing this kind of nonsense or sharing this much.
Yeah,
And
I agree. I
I
agree
just
with you. It's just it's gotten to the point where like it people make it acceptable. I don't know if it's I don't want to say upbringing because I would like to think some people have someone or live with someone or raised with some form or level of common sense, but you can't you can't really expect too much these days out of people, and it's totality.
because we discussed this before, like especially you know people. I think at the oldest, especially kids like in their maybe like 20s, early 20s.
Mhm.
We're the parents. Parents are our age.
Yeah.
I know how I was brought up. I know how you were brought up. So I'm like, so what happened? Like, what happened? I guess social media is a big part of it,
Mhm.
but it's just, and it, besides personal business, like we've all seen the posts of the relationship
Mhm.
details of regular people and celebrities. Celebrities also have shared too much, but it's just not just relationships, just things in general, things that happen at work, things to like. Aren't you embarrassed? Does no one get embarrassed anymore?
No, again, you know, um, it's one of those. Okay, you take for example me. Everybody, the people that know me best will know that I hate talking to people. I hate being in the limelight. I hate going outside. So for me to go outside, it takes a lot. And not to put that I'm better than anybody or above anything. That's not what it is. In fact, it's a running joke for a lot of people when it comes to me is that like I need all this advance notice because they know that I won't come. I'll just sit there or I'll just look at you. Or like even if in the fact that I go, there's always the times where people will ask me 1,000 times if I'm having fun or if I'm enjoying myself and things like that. And I tell people all the time, like, I'm fine. It's just like, I'm like, is there like something I'm missing? Am I supposed to be like climbing on the table or like supposed to be yelling or sliding around like, like I'm stolen second base in a baseball game? I'm trying to understand what exactly I'm missing because everybody's like level of fun or level of entertainment or, relief or something like that. I'm just like, where are we going with this?
I think a part of that though is also age. Because
Mhm.
20 years ago, kept going to 4 o'clock in the morning, went home or went to a diner, ate
Mhm.
food to go home, to change, to go to work. I
Yep.
do that now. Anything past, 11 p.m., it's difficult. Anything past 11 o'clock, I gotta plan a nap
Right.
in there before we go out. Like it takes days of planning. Like you said, you can't call me to what are you doing today? I'm on my couch. What we're
Right.
doing later, I'm still be on the couch.
Right.
You gotta tell me 3, 4, 5 days ahead of time. So I think that's part of it. Because 20 years ago, I'm doing different. Now I'm just like, you want me to what? At what
Yeah.
time? To do where? And I can't take like loud music anymore. Like,
Yeah.
go with my friends, this brunch place that she loves. It's so loud and it's cramped and people are dancing. I'm trying to eat. I'm like, you're ma'am, you're twerking in my French toast. Can you take a step back, please? She loves it because for her, usually like it's her birthday. So I was like, all right, yeah, we'll go.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
I want to speak to the person I'm with.
I similar to you, I just can't. Loud noises, too many people. I try to shy away from it, especially at this age. I don't know. I don't see any utility in that kind of stuff. I'm like, even with brunch, I know the brunch phenomenon, like I know it's a running joke for me where I tell people my, stance on it. But I mean, half that stuff you can make, I'm sure, at home, right? At your leisure. I think a lot of
Yes.
times people, especially women, and I'm gonna put it out there, women
Yeah.
do the brunch thing. And what exactly do you guys accomplish from that, other than the bottomless mimosas or whatever the hell it is that you guys drink?
Okay,
What is being
I only did that
accomplished?
once for my
Right,
birthday. Never
right.
again.
But
All
I'm
right.
trying to understand overall, like what is there to be accomplished?
Well,
Because
here's the thing. There's people who like the loud, obnoxious brunches.
okay,
They love going to places because they want to show up and show out. That's wonderful. This is a restaurant. It's not a club. Like
right,
right energy, wrong location. So I'm not that brunch person. I'm going to eat
right,
because I like to eat. I want to hear my thoughts and the person sitting across from me. Why am I yelling across my food? So it also depends. Like I like to, me. I like food. I like to eat. I happen to like brunch because I love breakfast foods.
right.
That's about it. I don't do the bottomless thing. I'm saying just once. My birthday. That was it. But that's me. But people like that loud obnoxiousness.
Hmm.
I could be just getting old. I'm feeling my age now. So it's part, but I cannot speak for everyone because the brunching, how you describe it, is the loud, obnoxious brunches and people like doing like, no, that's not me.
Yeah, I just, first of all, by nature, I'm not someone who judges, but when I go out there, I do find myself judging. It doesn't necessarily have to be brunch time, but I think it's the
You judge all
depiction
the
of it.
time.
Yeah, I think it's just the depiction of it where like again, a lot of women generally and just the motivation behind it. Like I get it. You're listening to current music and things like that and you're around a group of friends and stuff like that. But like it's sometimes even if you filter it out and you listen to some of the chatter and it doesn't take much because a lot of people will be like, okay, well, why are you ear hustling? I'm like, no, really, I'm not. It's just like this table over here seems to want me to be part of their conversation. So it's like,
No shame. They don't care who listens.
correct. And it's one of those things is like, I don't care who she's dating or who she thinks her man is, with right now. And this one's crying, this one's talking, this one's trying to show off like what shoes she got on or whatever she got going on. Like it's
But
just like 15 different things going on. And I don't get it.
when we were growing up, and we acted even a tenth of how these people act out.
Mhm.
Okay. The looks we would have gotten, they'll be like, "Oh, look at this one over here." Like, you would have felt the judgment. Like, it would have burned your skin off.
Right.
But now it seems to almost like a competition.
I-
Like who can have the most people look at them, type
Right.
of thing.
Mhm.
And that's everything. Because even not brunching, just like restaurants in general.
Right.
Like place I went, was it Lagos? Girl
Mhm.
brought her own cameraman. I was eating. I saw the girl. Okay, and it was a group of them,
Right.
and I could tell. I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be a birthday bachelorette because it's just a group of girls
Right.
dressed. Anyway, and I see a guy like behind them. Right, it was a guy. It was a guy, and I was like, they started taking pictures and group pictures because the table next to us, and I was like, she brought her own cameraman to take Instagram pictures. You know that's where it's going. It was for her IG page. But I was like, that is doing too much. Poster child. That and then the other table next to us, again, your favorite group of girls. Another birthday.
Mhm.
They just started, I think, doing shots and I don't know what else. And I was like, that whole restaurant, granted, it was a Friday night, Saturday, it was a weekend, a little bit later.
Mhm.
So it was going to that dinner, transitioning to nightlife because they had the dancer that came out. So, but again, it was very loud. So it's cool.
Right.
Maybe for a group setting, like the group thing is one thing, but it was like you and another person. You're like, what? What? Oh my God, look behind you. It was that kind of thing. But the cameraman took me out, had lighting and everything.
Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful time. Glad they.
That was probably the highlight of my evening.
Yeah, sounds very painful. I think one of those things for me is that like the reason why like I'm big on making fun or nitpicking with these kind of things is because like, and I think you said it, which I'm glad you said it because I know I probably get buried by women in general. What is it about women that like that rise of competition? Maybe not necessarily in that setting, but just in general. Like I think for me, I have sisters. Obviously, I have a mom but like I just try to understand that element that exists in you guys that like you really don't give two shits about the person, but you'll smile, you carry on, and almost tolerate to a point, but we'll sneak a jab in here and there, and then you can see the retort from that person, and yeah, it's almost broaching to the brink of that point of where you're gonna like pull her hair out or slap her or say something or just like yell at her or call her, out her name, something. I feel it, but like maybe what holds it back is like the setting. But I've been around that, and I'm like, and I've been out with friends where that has happened. I'm like, is something about to go down here?
I've witnessed things like that. Granted, I'm all about entertainment, so I will sit there with my drink and watch. That's just me.
Well, you like the method.
I'll start like betting money. Like I got the blondes.
Okay,
I'm that person. I will sit there and watch. I haven't seen a good girl fight in a long time. Good girl fights to make the night. Anyway, listen, we were in a different era. We're the $5 drink specials. Okay, there was a lot of fights.
Talk about it.
That was a highlight. End of the day, see strands of hair everywhere. But I know. I guess it still goes back to social media in a way, because people see things and they scrolling to the phone and they're sizing themselves up to other people. That I look bad, I could do that, and then they see it out. It's like an ego boost, and they see it out in public and like, oh, I could do better than that. No, I've felt competitive with other women, but it was never like out the club or bar type of deal, usually it was something personal.
Right.
Where the competition came in. But like out in public like that, I was never the one to show up and show out, because even at my big age, I could still hear my mother's voice in my head going, "What are you doing?"
Right.
I could sense her shame, and she's not in the room.
Yeah.
So,
I think for me, because guys, we get into our machismo too. I think I can't really blame social media on this part because it's been happening, right? You got to think about like late 90s, 2000, when we were like going to the clubs and
the golden age.
You're going to like the Webster Hall, Latin Quarters, you're going to Copa, you're going to Palladium, you're going everywhere, Speed, everywhere.
Some good fights at Copa, but continue.
Yeah, and like it didn't take much.
Mm.
So like it usually was, oh, why he bumped me or why he looking at me.
That's what it was. It was you got shoved. You were looking at someone's girl, supposedly.
Right.
Or you were seen talking to girls. They were like, yo, the guy in the Knicks hat, She was, he was in the back room. He like cornered her coming out the bathroom or KCB. Right. And the guy would roll up, go, talking to my girl. I'm like, oh, here. And now I'm there in my drink. Go, oh, here it goes.
Yeah. I mean,
was that thing. That thing was more, they felt disrespected, which is still that's the case now. That was more of a respect thing. Don't disrespect me in public to my face.
I think more so now. Well, I don't know too much now because I don't dabble in that. I don't do clubs. It has to be an event. I need advance. And when I talk about advance, I need advance notice to go to the lounge. I've seen videos of
clubs now. It's sad. It's a sad state of affairs.
Right. But like, I've been in places. I remember when Jay-Z had his 40/40 club in Midtown, and there used to be fights there. And you would think it's men, but it was females. They would take off their shoe. And I'm talking about their outside, not inside, outside. They have their shoes off. They're fighting the bouncer. They're cursing. Mind you, person is about 5 feet nothing, yelling like a little chihuahua to this 6'4", 300-pound guy dressed in all black.
The bouncer,
sitting at the door. And I'm like, you do know he will dribble you. Well, so like, I don't understand like where this courage.
Well, the loud chihuahuas of the world.
Mm-hmm.
They're just loud. No matter what the setting is, they're going to be loud. A lot of those chihuahuas, though, think because I'm a chihuahua, you're not going to touch me. You wouldn't touch me. I'm a chihuahua. I dare you to touch me. And then all the mess works out. We both know chihuahuas in this world. However, the girl fight, especially back then, the girl fights usually then was over a guy. Whether not me, but me and like thought I had a thing that night with the guy.
All right.
Here comes the other one. And then the friend goes, yo, that girl over there is trying to talk to him, blah, blah. And like, we're very territorial. 9 times out of 10, it was a guy. Either there's a guy inside or a guy outside.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's baby mama fighting this one or that one, or they bumped at a club 2 weeks ago and they happen to be at this club now fighting. Always drunkenness. There's always a lot of alcohol involved.
It gets sloppy.
Yeah. Usually, from my experience, girls fighting in club like that, it was over a dude in some way, shape, or form inside or out the club. But there was a third party.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. I think a lot of the times also, we call it what it is. They didn't like how the girl, I don't know, she looked at one of the friends or something like that. So there's a lot of cross-reference. But I know for guys, for us, it was very simple. You looked at him too hard. You looked at his girl. You bumped him. Stepped
on the shoe.
Yeah, you stepped on his shoe, or like you cut them off
Cut
in
'em
line because we all know it was like an Olympic sport just to get a drink from the bar. And
if you're good, you ordered 4 drinks in one shot.
Yeah, or or if back then, what was it like? I want to say $200 for a table, as opposed to what it is now, where people are like dropping damn near mortgage money for a table and drinks. I'm just like,
$1,000 for Don Julio.
and the irony of all that is, what I want people to understand: when you do stuff like that, you do realize how corny you look, because you spend that money, you're never going to get the return of it. B, the people are just coming around you, they're just leeching off you. C, nobody ever finishes those bottles. I've yet in all my life, because mind you, you're not walking out of the club with that bottle.
Well, going back to the tables and shameful behavior is a persona. These people who are paying money for these tables ain't got no damn money. Broke as hell. But they're doing it for the gram. Okay. Doing it for the gram, tag the place, look where I'm at. Well, I got a table, and then I'm thinking like, damn, that table costs this much. Oh, and they got 2, 3, 4 bottles. Oh, okay, he's rolling deep now.
All right.
It's all a persona. Again, no shame. This is all shameful behavior.
Oh yes, you're
all shameful behavior.
I just the fact that you're not walking out of the place, you're not walking out of the spot with the drink that you did not finish. So now what? You spent close to a stack. Where's the return on it?
Just to say that you did.
And then you added it.
Now there's photo evidence. Back when we did it, it was word of mouth. God, you know who I saw last week? Guess who I saw last week? Mm-hmm. And he was there with not his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. That was our social media back then.
Right.
There was no proof. It was word of mouth. So you had to go by your source. You're like, well, why would you had to evaluate the source at that point. Like, this guy or dude, like, he wouldn't say something. So you had to put stock into that thing. Now with social media, it's pictures, and look where I was. Look where I was, and we both seen some of these pages, TikToks, Instagram. They're just scrolling through and like, ain't no way.
Yeah, of course, because
these people not work. Do you not have a job? Like, what is going on?
No, they're perpetual travelers, and they are in a car. Half the time it's probably an Uber. Half the time there's a guy on the side, or it's a girl on the side driving. There's a huge, it's a huge rabbit hole we can dive into with this kind of thing. But to your point, shame, it runs deep. But is it evident is the question. I don't think it's very evident, because a lot of people are tolerant of a lot of behaviors maybe that weren't tolerated 20, 15 years ago, or even 5 years ago. I think if you really roll back to understand what life was like
before COVID. This is the stop and go before COVID.
Correct. And you fast forward now here to real time. It's like, yeah, you don't really act like that.
No. Back then you didn't do that. That, and usually back then when you had that fight or whatever,
mm-hmm.
that was pretty much the end of it.
Yeah.
It pretty much ended right then and there.
Yeah.
For the most part. Sometimes things kind of carried on, but usually that was it. People walked away. You became an urban legend. Stories are told about you. That's it. There's no photo. There's no video. No repercussion. Your job didn't find out about it. All these fun things that people go through now. And that's the thing. We always say things in the internet never die. They will live forever in infamy.
Yep, 100%.
And you think you can hide stuff, but it comes rip-roaring back. And we've seen stories of people acting a fool, and then what happened to so-and-so? Oh, he had let go from his job. Yeah. What happened? Well, HR came across this video of them acting the fool.
Right.
No shame. And I think part of it is, too, that people don't feel they don't feel shameful, they don't feel embarrassed, but they feel like they're untouchable. And I think that's part of it. If more people felt the repercussions of it, I think that would stop it. But when shameful behavior is monetized, viral moments,
Yep, talk about it.
validation, because we all know, the scantily clad for likes and all this stuff, and there's no repercussions, and people see this, they're like, well, she made money doing what? I could do that. Until something happens, and then they boo-hoo the victim, and that's why I like these jobs. I tell people, when we get a new job, ask if they have a social media policy, because a lot of them do.
Yep.
Fortunately, a lot of people find out when HR finds out. That's how they find out about the policy. Right. But I think the way we've discussed this before, how people dress, the way people's children act in public. I don't know about you, but I know growing up, my mom was like, if you embarrass me in public.
Oh, yeah, that's everybody.
You will not see the light of day until your birthday.
If you were born late 70s, 80s, early 90s, you had that talk. You had that understanding.
Do not embarrass me in public. You do not do that. We had discussion about people, like couples fighting in the street.
Yep.
Where you just walk down past.
Yeah, you might.
It's not like your parents were like, can you go in the house? You just walk down past. People used to mind their business.
Yep.
Not my business. No. Now people dying in the street. So calling 911, they're like filming it instead to post it to get the views. I'm like, no.
Yep. I think you raised a lot of good points there in terms of there are people out here still to this day, no matter what the age group or age range, validation seems to be a huge driving force. Definitely attention seeking, but I think validation is one of the key factors that, drive a lot of these kind of behaviors. Because if you think about it, you go on you can go anywhere, social media. And I think it's kind of universally known, Facebook, everybody's kind of tame on their best behavior. So we'll move that to the side. But as it pertains to IG and TikTok and Twitter or whoever or whatever people use, and that I think all it takes is one person to egg you on in your behavior. Then one becomes 2 or 3. Then that number, strangely enough, goes up. And then before you know it, you have some kind of following because it resonates with people, certain behaviors, certain mannerisms, and what you conveniently pointed out, whether it's a topic, whether it's how the person is dressed, whether it's just plain and simple, putting your business out there for the masses to hear, and they feel like it's something that resonates with them, so they feel like, oh, let me tap in, let me join, let me tag along. And that ultimately illuminates what's something that should be here. It illuminates out here, and it turns into a perpetual thing where everybody feels they're in the fold. Like what happened next? What did you do? Oh my God! Did you really go back to? Do you go back to word? This happened. This that.
Listen, I am one of the people that antagonize the shameful behavior. There's some things that I'm like, oh, I need to hear why. I try not to bring dramatics into my life outwardly, right. I should say. But it's entertaining to watch other people's drama. It ain't me. It ain't my problem. But I want to see how this works out. Right. And me and you've had just random commentary. Like, did you see this? Did you see this? Like, what would they think? Speaking of which, the conversation we had yesterday about Mr. Morant and his ongoing behavior that we're trying to figure out, where did it come from? Because not the upbringing, not the neighborhood. He's an adult. He started doing dumb things as an adult, like now. And we've seen Stitches are in there talking about this, can I ask you, isn't this like the third time now he gets in trouble for legitimately the same thing?
Yep.
When is he going to learn? That now, I think this is the biggest thing he's had. So the suspension, yes, as long as he'll be suspended.
No, this is not the longest, but he has been suspended before. I think, not to cut you off, but I think what the whole emphasis is that he's doing a continuous thing where he's been told to stop. I think with a lot of people, they forget that they work for someone. I get it. You make buku money. You're talking about these are young men who are making 100 upwards of 200, almost $300 million. In a 5 year, 6 year span, whatever the numbers work out to be. And I think what it's showing is that you can't control them. You can't control them. They feel they're untouchable. They're going to continue to do what they want to do, and until like certain things are like really revoked from them, stripped away from them, there's not much you can really say because even suspending him, he still gets paid. Not to maybe take 75,000, but what is $75,000 going to do to someone who makes upwards of $200 million? So it's like correct, and they're like, there's no like you're reprimanding something because you told him to stop doing the gesture. Guess what? He just reinvents it. Now he did, I believe, a shotgun. They told him to stop doing that. Now his new thing is the grenade. Like he's, this generation, especially because he's also 24, 25 years old. You're not going to tell them what to do. They're just relentless in what they want. In fact, whatever you tell him to do, he's going to do the virtual opposite. So like trying to restrict them, and it's not only him, there's a long laundry list, and it's not only in basketball. It's just how this generation, the times that we live in, which I go back to, how we opened up this episode. It's you're not going to tell them much of anything because they have an answer for everything. They have a lot of people watching them, meaning young kids and stuff like that. So they have that storm behind them and, their influence. That's what it's about. Currency for people now is influence. No longer, you could have the money. The money will be there, but if you have the influence, the money comes. So it's not something, it's not something you can really tame. I think what supersedes it is that, the NBA is $1 billion industry. And if they don't want you there, trust me, they'll find a way. They'll find a way for you to be out of the NBA. It's happened to dozens of players before, but with how it's designed now and how him being a marquee talent and one of the young faces of the NBA, that's where the tug of war, that's where it begins, because then people will spin it and say he's just being picked on.
But that's the thing. I understand that we talk about like celebrities and like when their relationship woes,
right?
Like Miss Cardi B.
No, please.
All her business out there. Grant, they both put their business out there.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, it developed. How many babies did she get out of it? So
every kid was makeup baby.
Yep. So
every kid's a makeup baby. That, other celebrities, and then just the lay people are just, especially the ones that post now of like the relationship posts of just, I say lay people, quote unquote normal people. Too many details.
Yeah.
I caught my husband with another man in my bed. Why are you telling the world this?
Need the validation.
The validation. Usually, as he posts like that, the first thing I do is go to the comments and start scrolling through the comments, because the comments usually can be out of pocket. They can, right. But any of those that what's another one I've seen? There's always that one. Man, how to know? No, man was called someone else. My wife, the recordings of people which I never got, of people they physically arguing,
right?
And they're recording them and then posting it. Like, why Why?
Yeah,
Like girls,
yeah, for clicks and likes.
but it's there's some things that I hate to admit it, but you just expect women to be doing. It's when the guys post arguments. I'm like, well, this is weird. This is different. And I've
Mhm.
seen men do these types of posts. And I guess part of it is too, they saw homegirl get all these clicks and likes, so let me do clicks and likes
Mhm.
too. But it's technically not normal behavior because usually guys normally don't do this.
Yeah, well, I've told you
They usually
before.
keep this close to the vest.
Yeah, I've told you a couple of times before. Like to me, I don't know everything, but I think social media was planted here for women, solely women. I just don't really foresee like a lot of the antics. I mean, maybe now you do see men partaking in that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I think it's a tool utilized for women, so you guys could update your trips. You can update, the gossip. You can update fashion wear, fashion sense. Some people update their bodies because for those who want to go do the BBLs and all that kind of stuff.
My
Um,
favorite, the man of the week, or woman of the week.
right. It's all kinds of things. Like you can be who you want to be on social media. Let's just be upfront. You can be whoever you want to be.
But
And I
even
think a lot.
off social media, because granted, this has social media component to this, but
Mhm.
like, because sometimes some posts is not like me talking about my problem.
Right.
A lot of posts you see are like their Reddit stories that someone
Mhm.
else is just saying over again. And, because there's a few people who do that type of thing, or they see stuff on Facebook and they share it, but it's not their personal story. Once again, but I don't,
I mean, it's
I don't know,
fine.
these things is because the way we're raised, I'm sure these things happened. We just didn't know about it. Like I said, things that happen in the house, stay in the house
Yeah.
type of thing. So if someone had a mistress and a whole other family, there are rumors. I heard, but no one ever saw for sure, but they were just rumors. They
Listen,
ended up being true, but the rumors like this. And part of that also goes into, shameful behavior. Things like you're in a marriage,
mhm.
you took vows, you
Yep.
did this, and then you're doing out of pocket behavior.
Yep.
Okay. And then when confronted or said, about it's like they don't like they say they care, I'm sorry, whatever case may be, but they do it again. Me and you've had these conversations before, but I was like, but sometimes there's some people I say that unfortunately I think that's just how they are.
I'm not gonna say that.
Some feel bad. I'm sorry. I'm gonna work on this, whatever. But because sometimes we had before, like you see the same, like you may know a person
Mhm.
and have problems with their significant other. Okay, fine. But then the next relationship, like the same thing happens, and same thing happens, and same issue. And it's always like your friend is always the one that happens to be cheating. I'm like, at this point, you're doing it for sport, just because you can.
I listen. I hear
Shameful
you.
behavior. Because
Uh,
for me, if you're doing things just to get your rocks off and not taking too much into consideration the other person you're supposed to love and care for, that's incredibly shameful behavior.
I hear you, and you raise good points, but I'm also disagree with you. I'm gonna disagree with you in the sense that like it doesn't take much. You and I have had this discussion, and a lot of female friends that I have, we've had this discussion. The biggest gripe now is it's not now, but liking of pictures on social media, whatever platform it is, most notably IG. And I think with women, you guys take that, you know, as like a personal attack. And my question is that, you take it as a personal attack. Is it because you see the person's name appear, or is it because you have this expectation? You think that this is something that your significant person, that's what they want. Because I think now you're entering waters and where like you start to create the problems because mind you haven't had the conversation with the person. All you've said, which I've known and heard because it was done to me before and it has been done, is where, well, why are you liking these kind of pictures?
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, for me, I just pressed like. It's not like I'm ever going to meet that person. I don't know. I'm a simple person. I'm mild mannered. I don't run in those circles. So I have no idea. But I think a lot of it has to do with a lack of confidence, trust, and then the also ever anxiety levels. Because as much women that I talk to or have talked to over the years, it just sparks your anxiety. That's the first thing, or it's triggering, or you feel disrespected. And I'm trying to understand how, because on other platforms, you do know you can do literally the same thing. It's just you don't see the name, you just see the number.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow or another, the argument just doesn't carry the same. But
it's not always, I mean, sometimes it's like, but sometimes you see there's comments.
okay.
And you're like, okay. And in the comments, I'm like, okay. And in other instances, there's lives. Interacting online is like overly friendly. So, I think there's levels to it. And my thing is, if you told your partner, like, look, I don't feel comfortable with this. It makes me feel, because, like say, for instance, it's a rather attractive female, complete opposite of what I look like. But I see, scrolling through, you're liking a lot of pictures, leaving some comments. Or a different platform, they're on TikTok Lives, and I see you just keying and on live. I'm like, seems a little personal. Now you're being called out by name, intention. I'm like, and I'm, I'd be in the line, but this is not the conversation that was had. So where does conversation come? Like, where does this come from? And I tell them, like, look, I don't feel comfortable with this because it makes me feel a certain way like this. And if I feel like I'm being dismissed, I'm going to feel a certain type of way. I'm like, but this, then that's where it feels disrespectful. And I'm like, I don't feel, this is how it makes me feel. It makes me feel bad because, like you said, I'm seeing this person. I look nothing like this. I'm not like this. I'm seeing the interaction that you're having with them. And I'm like, well, what does this mean? You're saying it's nothing. It can be nothing, but that's not how I feel. And if I tell my partner, like, listen, I don't like this. I don't feel comfortable. It makes me feel insecure. It makes me feel this because, you say this, but this is what you're doing. It feels like I'm being dismissed. I'm like, well, okay. Now I feel like I'm being disrespected. And it feels to me like, well, okay, then you don't care about me. Why you blatantly disrespect me if I told you I don't like this, but then continue to do so?
Yeah. No, I hear you. And, it's not that I'm trying to come from a challenging position, but I think a lot of times from the guy's standpoint, he gets beaten down because then it's like, where's the trust? Because at the end of the day, it's all computer generated, whether you're looking on the phone or a computer. Mm-hmm. It's all computer generated, and it's just for clicks and likes and obviously attention based. But at the same token, what is to be said when you are in said relationship and the person, the same antagonizing behavior that you so claim gets your anxiety and all your bells and whistles going is the same output that you're putting out there? Like you're wearing scantily clad clothing and posting and literally doing what you said you despise or what you despise your partner actually pressing like for. You know what I mean? That's where the quote unquote double standard sets in, and it's just, you know,
And
I'm not going to say, I'm
women,
not going to sit there, I'm not going to say it's not fair, because in some ways everybody's grinding their gears on both ends, but it's like now, okay, so now you're going to protect, because a lot of time, let's not sit here and play around. A lot of women know what they're doing when they do that kind of stuff, whether they put a certain type of picture in a story, or as opposed to what they sent you or what they put on their posts. And like, you know, we can see the likes, we
Mhm.
can see the same antagonizing thing. So I'm trying to understand, is that like a get back method, or is that like just to, you know, prove a point? Because you know, I can say it. I'm fully capable in saying it. I could be like, can you please take that down?
right,
But it doesn't afford me the liberty to, like, you know, not necessarily control you. I can bring it to your attention, just like you brought that. But a
right.
lot of times what happens is that I get shut down because my body, my choice, and it's my page. So you got to call it a spade a spade.
Well, at that point, that's a blatant double standard.
Of course. I
It's a
mean,
blatant double standard.
isn't everything? But isn't everything? That's the whole
It is
junction of it.
everything. Not the biggest fan of double standards, but I hear what you're saying. I've heard those too. Because we had this conversation before when it came to like respect in a relationship, like because I had a couple of friends like that, you know, look at social media. I'm like, ma'am, does your are you friends with like your partner on this page? Because okay. Like my favorite outfit, the body stocking. Out with the girls though. I'm like,
Yeah,
he's a kid.
girl,
Was he with you
girls,
that night? No, he was
girls night
home.
out.
He let you out the house wearing that? Ma'am. At that point, you're starting a fight. But you know, but then you hear stories of like, you know, it's nothing, there's nothing. And then 3, 4, 5 months down the road, you found that it was something the whole time. You
Mhm,
know, the comments, the likes turned to sliding into a DM,
mhm.
started to exchange information. Now you're texting King outside of social media. But then I was called crazy. What I mean, but I was called crazy. Oh, it's in your head, in your head. But then fast forward, I'm like, oh, so I was right the whole time. I had a feeling that something was right. Your favorite women intuition. Something was right. I came to you with it. You're like, no, it's fine. It's just this. And then down the road, find out there was a whole relationship there. That the interaction left social media, personal information was exchanged, and now you keep exchanging messages and whatnot to each other like it's okay.
Um, I hear you, but again, it can go both ways, because and obviously everything is algorithm driven.
Mm.
So a lot of times, you know, within, let's call it what it is. A lot of these relationship panels, a lot of these people who speak on relationships, they feel like whether they're giving the opposite sex footnotes and p jewels to like really implement in their thing, or implement and to improve their dating life, so to speak, or whatever.
Yelling in the
Listen,
mic. If he blinks,
yeah,
he blinks
let's
twice.
like
Don't run.
let's be 100% honest. Like, there's equal blame to go all the way around, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are not accepting of it. I think a lot of people are looking for this golden, not even golden, they're looking for this silver bullet to kind of understand and break through, to like help them find themselves, which is always a great excuse. It's a misliar that's out there.
Which one?
um Finding themselves.
No, they're not finding themselves. Okay, they're on their healing journey.
Yeah, whatever.
Just get the terminology correct.
Anyway, they can go kick rocks with that stuff. I think,
Self-care.
yeah, the all those people with the standing on business.
Your favorite,
Uh,
10 toes down.
yeah, I don't know what business they're standing on. I haven't seen any LLCs or S corps or anything like that, so I can care less about them. But
I'm a fan of the healing journey.
the irony is that the spinning of the block, which I don't think a lot of people talk about that. and I don't know why, because we've heard it. We've heard of various celebs and stuff. Not that we live vicariously through them.
What, you mean the one that graduated?
Graduated. Then there was another one that had like a couple of years hiatus, came back, pregnant, ended up pregnant and married.
Who's that one?
Yeah, Shanti and Nelly. Forgot?
Ah,
yeah. Come on,
that's one in a couple years.
Right.
That was a decade and 2 kids by him.
And then you also now recently hearing about Tony Braxton and Birdman. They were going through their rocky stuff.
And turned out they were married?
Yeah, they were married.
Like, wasn't terribly surprising. I could see why they kept that quiet, but
my whole point is that, like, there's always someone, and I think I put up a post about this a couple of days ago, people lurking and stuff like that. It's a real thing. And the people that are lurking are not necessarily looking for the greater good for you, which is always so humorous. And for me, talking from both personal and on the outside, it's not a good thing when your friend, your supposed friend, or people in your circle are telling you that this person that you're with is doing this. That's no one needs surveillance. That does it. No one needs surveillance. And I think.
Do I know this story? Wait a minute.
I don't know. Maybe people telling you that you need surveillance, or they're telling you about what your partner is supposedly doing and things like that. I think that is such corny behavior, because at the end of the day, when you with your person and you decide to talk things through, or whatever the case may be, then what does it look like?
Yeah. So we had this discussion before about, I forgot what we were talking about, but it was something like that. Like being your friends, you're married. I know you're messing around with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
No, take it back. You're being the unfaithful one,
right? Type
of thing, and I know about it,
right?
Do I say anything? I'm like, no, I was never that person. I told you, I am like people tell me details that I did not ask, especially when I work with. Why do I know about your whole life? I never asked you. I know too much about you, and all I do is work with you. I can't. Right. But I digress. But I'm just like, really? So what are you gonna do? Right. You sure about that? Like, I'm not that person to go. You tell me I'm gonna go. No. Right. I'm the one. If you need me, call me. I'll come get you. We'll talk it out. We'll go to Danny. We'll do this. We'll hash it out. Come to my place. We'll send, like, wherever the case may be. I have moved friends out. I don't know how many times. I never interjected in their relationship, though. I was never the one to be like, girl, he's back with you. Leave him. That I don't care. Yep. But you having a problem? I need to move out. Can you come over? I'll bring some garbage bags. I'll be right there. That was me. I've gotten the phone call 2:00 in the morning. What happened? We just had a fight. Can you come get me? Sure. Sat there for 2 hours. And then the 2 hours, I'm like, so where am I taking you? Am I taking you home? Taking you to your mom's house.
Yeah.
What you do in your house is what you do in your house.
Yeah, you are far more generous than I am. I think, especially at this age, I'm just not going to tell someone, especially if you have multiple years invested, unless like there's like physical violence, domestic violence.
Because I'm not going to tell you to do,
right.
Or then if you go back, I'm like, you went back to her. How could you go back? I'll be like, are you back together? That's nice.
Yeah, I'm not, because again, I think people get too wrapped up into it. I'm a firm believer of mind your business, because like if you don't fully understand or know full details, and you're just like throwing, the screen, if you're that person throwing screenshots and this, that, and the third, and showing this and showing that, you're not helping. You might think you're helping. You're not helping. And for the person that's ingesting it and thinking like, oh, and they go on their journey and they're putting all kinds of, and their quotes, and they're ripping and running in the street like they ain't got no, like they have nothing.
You don't like the motivational quotes
No,
or
I
the
think it's,
reposts from Justin LeBoy?
no, I think they're all fraudulent, especially if you are at, the part that gets me is like people at our age group are doing this kind of stuff. I'm like, aren't you too old? Like, shouldn't you be having like icy hot somewhere on some part of your body because it's hurting?
I might see my nieces were done.
Right. So it's like I'm trying to understand like people's mindset, because I think, it really is. Attention is the drug, and the validation is definitely a driving force for it. And I'm just like, no, I don't want no part of it. But to your point, I'm not going to automatically assume like, yeah, break up with her or break up with him, or no, you need to leave him. Oh, I heard. No, I didn't hear anything.
No, that's it. I'm the supportive friend. I'm gonna come get you. We'll drive around. You need to like get out of your house a bit. Sure, no problem. We'll go. We'll eat. We'll chop it up, whatever the case may be. But then at the end of it, I'm gonna ask you, where am I taking you? Am I taking you home? Am I taking you someplace else? That's me. I'm just a tool. I've seen people into like just things being thrown. I'm like, I'm gonna go. Call me later.
Yeah. Well,
not a witness to nothing.
No. I don't do the witnessing thing. No. I'm terrible. I'm Ray Charles witnessing. I don't do any of that nonsense. But for me, my closing statement for tonight is that people, both men, women, and some children, if you're of age, I don't fault you if you're a preteen and toddler and stuff like that. It's deemed as cute. And yes, I implore you to tell an adult. But other than that, mind your goddamn business. Like,
it's never cute.
Just mind your business. Mind your business. If you are posed in a situation where it does not concern you, mind your business. If somebody is offering you information to just get back at someone, tell them mind their business. Because you know what ends up happening? When you do, which more than likely, you will repair the relationship, and then when that said person sees you, they're gonna look at you some kind of way and tell you, "Oh, she took him back. Oh, you took her back. Word. Oh, yeah." And then it turns into a whole bunch of buffoonery and clown behavior. So that's my only message. Like, I know we discussed shame and what encompasses it, but my personal message, everybody that knows me on a personal level, I will tell you, I don't care how big you are. I don't care how scary you think you are. I will tell you, yes, I am that guy. Mind your business. And like, I will say it, if I can do it in a way where it's caps, if I can cap the words as I'm speaking, picture that. That's how I feel about it. Mind your business. That is really something that I live by, like, because it goes hand in hand with shame. We don't have enough of that. There's so many people too invested in what the next person is doing, and ultimately that just fosters more and more problems. But yeah, I can't say it enough. Mind your business, people. That's all I got to say. The rest of your turn.
I hope I see the day in my lifetime where people are embarrassed once again. I have a feeling, though, that things will just get progressively worse from here on out. And I don't know when the tides will change. I just hope to see it in my lifetime. I hope that my nieces and nephews do not fall into the trap that these kids now have fallen into of validation and please like me. I want you to like me. It unfortunately always gets worse before it gets better. And I don't know what it's going to take. It's going to take a generation to fix this. And I'm hoping that, because my nephews are teenagers and then obviously my nieces are babies, but that they would be the ones to be like, this behavior has got to stop. We're going down a very dangerous spiral of chaos. Yep. That the day will come when just the whole world's going to implode And I'm hoping I'm gone by then, but it's just bring back shame, bring back some morals. That's part of it. People just don't have any morals anymore. Standards are very low. I'm hoping people just see their sense, come back to their senses at some point. Because by the looks of it, people at our age, the parents, they're not the ones showing it. So I don't know
Not at all.
what it's going to be.
Yeah. But folks, that's our program for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to Yaya, Queen of Snark. And you know me, I am the Boogeyman. Please like, share, subscribe, and we will be here for our next show. So until then, have a good one.
Have a good night.